everyone. I am Anshika, student of BE Honours Political Science. Today I am going to discuss about
legislative representatives, powers and functions.
Now just have a look on contents.
Introduction, organization, composition and membership of Parliament, organization, composition and membership of state legislative assemblies, Panchayati Raj, municipalities and last, conclusion.
Now I am going to introduce my presentation.
This presentation is focused on powers and functions of people's representatives at different tiers of governance in India, wherein the President of India is the head of the state and the Prime Minister of India is the head of the union government. We have dual political system in our country, that is union government at the central level and state government at the provincial level. In this presentation, we also talk about the Panchayati Raj system and municipalities.
First of all, we talk about the organization of Parliament.
Under the Constitution, the Parliament of India consists of three parts: the President, the Council of States, the House of the People. In 1954, the Hindi names Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha were adopted by the Council of States and the House of People respectively.
Now the next topic is the composition of the two houses of Parliament, and here it is.
The Parliament consists of two houses, that is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Now let's know about Rajya Sabha. Composition of Rajya Sabha. The maximum strength of the Rajya Sabha is fixed at 250, out of which 238 are to be representatives of the states and union territories, elected indirectly, and 12 are nominated by the President. At present, the Rajya Sabha has 245 members, in which 229 members represent the states, 4 members represent the union territories, and 12 members are nominated by the President. The fourth schedule of the Constitution deals with the allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha, representation of states, representation of union territories, nominated members.
Now I am going to talk about representation of states. In Rajya Sabha, the elections are held with a system of proportional representation. In Rajya Sabha, the seats are allotted to the states on the basis of population. For example, UP has 31 while Tripura has 1 member. Now next is representation of union territories. The election is also held in accordance with the system of peer. Out of the 7 union territories, only 2 Delhi and Puducherry have representation in Rajya Sabha. Next is nominated members. The President nominated 12 members to the Rajya Sabha from people who have special knowledge in art, literature, science or social service. Now I am going to talk about composition of Lok Sabha.
The maximum strength of the Lok Sabha is fixed at 552. Out of this, 530 members are to be representatives of the states, 20 members are to be the representatives of the union territories, and 2 members are to be nominated by the President from the Anglo-Indian community. At present, the Lok Sabha has 545 members, in which 530 members represent the states, 13 members represent the union territories, and 2 Anglo-Indians are nominated by the President. Now next is allocation of seats in Lok Sabha, representation of states, representation of union territories and nominated members.
Now I am going to talk about representation of states in Lok Sabha. The election is based on the principle of universal adult franchise. Every Indian citizen who is above the age of 18 is eligible to cast their vote. Next is representation of union territories in Lok Sabha. Accordingly, the Parliament has enacted Union Territories Act in 1965, in which the Lok Sabha from the union territories in which all the members, they can also be elected by the direct elections. Next is nominated members in Lok Sabha. In this, the president can nominate 2 members from the Anglo-Indian community.
Now I am going to talk about membership of parliament. Qualifications. The following qualifications for a person to be chosen a member of the parliament: he must be a citizen of India. He must make and subscribe to an oath or affirmation before the person authorized by the Election Commission for this purpose. In his oath or affirmation, he swears to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India, to uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India. He must be not less than 30 years of age in the case of the Rajya Sabha and not less than 25 years of age in the case of the Lok Sabha. He must possess of the qualifications prescribed by Parliament. There are many too. Now next is disqualifications. If he holds any office of profit under the union or state government except that of a minister or any other office exempted by Parliament. If he is of unsound mind and stands so declared by a court, if he is an undischarged insolvent, if he is so disqualified under any law made by Parliament, if he is not a citizen of India or has voluntarily acquired the citizenship of a foreign state or is under any acknowledgement of allegiance to a foreign state.
Now I am going to talk about organization of state legislature.
No uniformity in the organization of state legislatures. Most of the states have an unicameral system, while others have a bicameral system. The state legislature consists of the governor, the legislative consists of the governor, the legislative council, and the legislative assembly. The legislative council, Vidhan Parishad, is the upper house, second chamber or house of elders, while the legislative assemblies, Vidhan Sabha, is the lower house, first chamber or popular house. Now next is composition of the two houses. Composition of assembly includes first, strength, nominated members, territorial constituencies, readjustment after each census, reservation of seats for SCs and STs. Composition of assembly also includes that strength and manner of election. Now next is membership of state legislature. Qualifications: he must be a citizen of India. He must make and subscribe to an oath or affirmation before the person authorized by the Election Commission for this purpose. He must be not less than 30 years of age in the case of the Legislative Assembly and not less than 25 years of age in the case of the Legislative Assembly. He must possess other qualifications prescribed by Parliament. Now next is disqualifications. If he holds any office of profit under the union or state government, if he is of unsound mind and stands so declared by a court, if he is an undischarged insolvent, if he is so disqualified under any law made by Parliament. Now next is Panchayati Raj system. The term Panchayati Raj in India signifies the system of rural local self-government. It has been established in all the states of India by the acts of the state legislatures to build democracy at the grassroots level. It is entrusted with rural development. It was constitutionalized through the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. Now next is evolution of Panchayati Raj system. First, evolution of Panchayati Raj system starts with the Balwant Rai Mehta Committee in January 1957 and then in Ashok Mehta Committee in December 1977. After that, G.V.K. Rao Committee in 1985 and then in L.M. Singhvi Committee in 1986 under the government of Rajiv Gandhi. Then in 1988, Thangan Committee. After that, last is
Gadgil Committee in 1988. Now I am going to talk about salient features of Panchayati Raj system. First, Gram Sabha. The Gram Sabha, it includes the foundation of the Panchayati Raj system. Next, three-tier system. It includes first, panchayats at the village, second, intermediate, and then district level. Third, election of members and chairpersons. Next is reservation of seats on the basis of SCs and STs, and also one-third population. One-third means one-third of the total number of seats for women also included in Panchayati Raj system. Next is duration of panchayats, then disqualification, and last is powers and functions. Now I am going to talk about municipalities. The term urban local government in India signifies the governance of an urban area, which is demarcated for this purpose by the state government. The system of urban government was constitutionalized through the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. At the central level, the subject of urban local government is dealt with the following three ministries. First, Ministry of Urban Development. Second, Ministry of Defense in the case of cantonment boards. Third, Ministry of Home Affairs in the case of union territories. Now next is evolution of urban bodies. First is historical perspective. The institutions of urban local government originated and developed in modern India during the period of British rule. First in 1687 to 88, the first municipal corporation in India was set up at Madras. Then in 1726, the municipal corporations were set up in Bombay and Calcutta. Then Lord Mayor's resolution of 1870 on financial decentralization visualized the development of local self-government institutions. After that, Lord Ripon, the Royal Commission on Decentralization was appointed in 1907, and then gradually it was established. Then in committees and commissions, the committees and commissions appointed by the central government to improve the functioning of local government. Next is constitutionalization. Constitutionalization includes the Rajiv Gandhi government introduced the 65th Constitutional Amendment Bill in August 1989 in the Lok Sabha. The bill aimed at strengthening and revamping the municipal bodies by conferring a constitutional status on them. Next is salient features. First, three types of municipalities: Nagar Panchayat, Municipal Council, Municipal Corporation. Composition: Wards Committee, reservation of seats, duration of municipalities, disqualifications. Now I am going to conclude my presentation. I hope now you are able to understand the powers and functions of Parliament, state legislative assemblies, Panchayati Raj system and municipalities. Thank you.